If you gotta be there, you just gotta
Also,
live in
his mom's
Queens.
in Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also, my parents are weirdly from Queens, so like,
Oh yeah.
not like I ever like was here when they lived there.
I fuck with Queens because it just does its own thing and it's not trying to really compete with the rest of the New York shit.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, it's just doing its thing. I fuck with Queens, but
We saw this girl outside the Citi Field Stadium, and she was white and had colored dreads and was wearing ON sneakers. And I was like, this is like everything insane. And Nigel was like, yeah, that girl's single-handedly keeping the rent down.
She was shuffling. She was for sure shuffling. You know?
I was just like, man, this girl's going in on everything awful.
Flushing Mall used to be wild too. Just like wild store. It was like Shine before Shine. Like you could go buy the shit you're buying on Shine now, but like in a
totally.
mall.
When I first, are we recording? Because when I first,
oh yeah, we're recording. Yeah.
One of my first jobs here was I oversaw Paris Hilton's perfume.
Oh wow.
And one of my accounts was the Flushing mainstream Macy's.
Was Paris popping out there?
I didn't
in
even
the
have to
Flushing
do
Macy's?
anything.
Her
Like,
perfume was everything.
It was the easiest
I
job.
can smell it right now when you're talking about it. I was obsessed with it. And Britney Spears' Curious perfume.
Damn.
Those were the
Same
two hot
timeline.
girls perfumes
Yeah.
of the early aughts.
No, totally.
Like-
and that was like, I didn't have to do anything.
No, it
Like,
sold
It
itself.
just sold itself.
She kind of invented being like a celebrity perfume girl.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, she was the first one. I think I might be wrong, but I think she was the first celebrity to come out with a perfume, and like it's been the blueprint since because it's inexpensive.
Yeah, that
like
makes
it's
sense.
kind of for like a celebrity to do it, and it just pays for itself. Like it prints money for people. Like
It was crazy.
Everyone had a perfume. Like there was a hot minute where it was like, if you have a
I feel
perfume,
like J-Lo came out with one after
Yeah.
her.
Britney Spears had
And then
one. Like
Britney.
big celebrities were doing this.
Ben Affleck really should come out with a troll one for like the Axe body spray dude that's like flavors
Yeah.
of Dunkin' Donuts
Why
coffees.
has he not done that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the almond iced coffee Ben Affleck cologne.
Yeah. I could
cop.
see the Old Spice version of that, like the deodorant.
Yeah. The Town Spice.
The Town
I fuck with it.
Spice.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're overseeing Paris Hilton's perfume.
Yeah, I had to like check in all the malls in New York.
Oh, wow.
Like I had like normally I would have to be there for a long time, but because it was selling so well, I would just like pop in and just be like, how's everything going? And it was like at the time, I'm sure this is still a thing where like perfume had like a gift set. Like if you
Oh,
buy this,
God.
you get this
Yeah.
Paris
Those were the
Hilton
days.
suitcase.
The Polo Sport bag.
Suitcase
Yeah.
is crazy.
So my mom like had the suitcase last time I was in LA, and I was like, you know what this is, right?
she's using it.
And that was my job, like for like 2 years. And then like I love talking about this because it's so ridiculous. The person like left that company and then started his own, took me on, and then I was the perfume person for Ed Hardy.
Oh wow. Wow. What did that smell like?
The same. Like,
I remember the bottle though.
yeah, the bottle was sick.
Yeah.
And so I also had all those accounts, including Flushing Main Street, which was the only thing I couldn't drive to because the traffic and the parking was so insane there that I would just have to like take the train and like take the 7, and I didn't really know my way around.
Okay, first perfumes. What was your guys like the first one you copped?
Angel.
Oh.
My first perfume that I got.
Oh.
Honestly, I don't remember the first one that I got myself. It may have been Curious by Britney Spears, but I do remember my mom was a Ralph Lauren romance girly.
Ooh.
And I would
remember that.
always like go in her room and spray it on me. So that is like super nostalgic for me. But I think it was Britney.
That's crazy. The creative writing class I took in high school, they had us, the teacher was like ill. He would like do acid in class and shit. And he was like,
Florida.
yeah, Mr. Richmond, incredible. And he told us this one time, all right, everybody take an ad out of a magazine and then create a fantasy poem writing about it.
That's sick.
So I saw the photo of Ralph Lauren romance and my buddy Justin was in the class, but also his sister, Chrissy was in the class also. So I wrote a poem to Chrissy just to fuck with Justin
Oh, that's hot.
based on the Ralph Lauren
Based
romance.
on Ralph
Fucking
Lauren.
image.
Was there a horse in the ad?
Yes.
I think I know it.
Yeah.
I like can envision it.
Yeah. And it was like, yo, I want to ride Chrissy like a horse. And Justin was
That
like,
was
I'm going
your
to fucking kill
poem?
you. I'm going to fucking kill
And your
you.
teacher was like
Something like that.
acceptable.
Sick.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, fuck yeah.
This
It's gonna
teacher
ride him
was
like a horse.
incredible. One time I got so drunk at school that it got around like, yo, Eddie's drunk at school and the administrators were looking for me and he hid me in the back of the class.
What year is this? Like what year of school?
90s.
Dr. Phillips High School,
Okay, high school
1998,
though.
baby.
Okay. High
Yeah.
school.
I just
And
remembered
we should-
my
go ahead.
actual first perfume was Cool Water for Women.
Oh,
Mine was Cool Water for Men. David
just
Cool
remembered
Water.
that.
Yeah.
Sometimes he puts cool water on when we're
yeah.
fighting, and then like he's like, it's like
I'll
it's
get
like
in
an
bed with the
olive
Cool Water
branch
on.
to be like. He's like,
Yeah.
are you thinking of your father? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I am. Let's fuck.
Yeah. Yo, sometimes when we fight, I put the Cool Water and I'll put Hugo Boss on and just be, what up, though?
Yeah.
She's like, okay, the Cool Water.
It's like a bat signal. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. The things I can do when we're beef Wellingtoning is like scratching her back or just put on like an ancient cologne. I'm like, do you
Does
want to
something
fuck your
you.
dad?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Scent is like the biggest trigger for memory.
Scent
it's like,
is
it's
crazy.
Like, it's like truly,
Yeah.
if you,
Yeah.
I remember I smelled somebody wearing Cool Water on the train, and it like like I was like, oh my god, my childhood
Yeah.
trauma was
Yeah.
bubble. I was like, I have to get off and cry.
This is a Johnson
actually.
baby powder and Cool Water cologne. Like everybody.
Yeah.
That's what did it.
Yeah.
I had to do this 2 weeks in London, and the Hard Rock Hotel put me up in London, and Nigel, my boyfriend, came with me. And Hard Rock has a
Shout out
scent.
Nigel.
Shout out Nigel, who's hiding in the back as usual. They have their own scent, and they were pumping it in the hallways of the Hard Rock Hotel. So it was like what, 2 years
Does
ago?
it smell like Dizza?
Shout out,
Shout out
Dizza.
Dizza.
I wonder what cologne Dizza wears. I'm gonna ask him.
Probably Draca Noir.
I mean, yeah, and like
We'll ask Erica. Shout
we
out
got
Erica.
so used to that smell, like to the point where like every once in a while we'll be at a club and like a club and Nigel will be like in the bathroom or something, and he'll text me like, I smell someone in here is like wearing Hard Rock. And I'm like, damn, that worked.
That's like how the public hotel just bodied Lalabo. Remember that?
Oh, that's
Where they were
right.
just pumping
Through the
Santal.
vents.
Yeah, that was the end of Lalabo. Was the public hotel?
Public hotel was the end
Yeah.
of a lot of
yeah,
things.
Yeah.
the end of the Lower East Side, the end of escalators.
The end of Escalade.
Oh, actually though.
Yo, we should introduce you at this
Yeah.
point. You
We'll
know,
do like a
world
formal-
famous DJ
famous.
Jubilee. Should we drop the government name? Because I didn't know
You
it
can
till
drop my
last
government
night.
name. It's
Jessica
online now.
Gentile, right? The best part was I was researching for this episode last night, and I was trying to find Florida Breaks articles for Natasha, and I read this article from Vice in 2014, and there's a part in it where it's like the Orlando break scene was more trance, and the Miami scene was more like freestyle, which is like very complimentary to Miami and slightly
Yeah.
derogatory to Orlando. But I was like, wait, I was like, Jubilee said this, and then I sent it to you, and you're like, dude, that's me. That's my government
wrote
name,
that.
you idiot.
I did write that article.
It's a fire. It's actually the foremost article on Florida Breaks.
That's the thing. If you look, that is like what's crazy about that article is like if you look up Florida Breaks, that's the only. Like, why is that the only thing there?
Yo, when I sold the show to Showtime about like the Florida Breaks drug scene, whatever, we're still working on it. That was the only article I could send.
Yeah.
I was like, why has no nerd studied this? And I'm glad they have it. Like, they just can't even get on it.
I know. I'm just like, is that gonna? We all know this. Is it gonna still be there soon?
I feel
What's
like
going on with Vice?
I feel like you need to
Ooh.
open the Museum of Florida Breaks, like next to the Museum of Ice Cream.
Oh my
So it's
God.
like she could take
I
Senna
can go
and then
and
I could
Senna
trip
can go to
out.
Ice. Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, I actually like cited this one really weird blog post from that. And the guy found me after I wrote the article and was like, can you like credit me in this? And I didn't credit him because like he didn't even really have his name on it.
Yeah.
And then we wound up becoming friends, and then he wound up writing a book about the
Fever.
Florida's fever.
Yeah, that's the only other person
Oh.
that's written about this shit. Guida, somebody.
Umberto.
Yeah.
So like at first he got really mad at me, and then he like apologized, and then I played in LA, and he came out and brought me the book,
Yeah.
Oh,
and I
cool.
read the book. But in true Florida fashion, like I tried to buy that book for a friend of mine who's also from Florida that relates to us, and like it never got sent
Yeah.
from like whatever, and I was like, nobody's ever gonna read this book.
Yeah, I
it's
got it
good.
in the mail one day, fire, and on it, it just said, because I think they announced the show, right? And then I got this book in the mail, and there was a post that just said HC Guida, but it looked like Guido. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this? What is this book? And I looked, I was like, oh, it's the Fever Cruise shit. So
Yeah.
that book is like the only other thing about Florida Breaks besides,
And I
Jonathan.
was like, that was like within my timeline. Like that book, I didn't know all of that stuff. Like it was basically about how like the rave scene started all pure and happy, and then like drugs got involved and drug dealers got involved. It's tales old as time, and then it got really dark. Like that's basically what the book was about. And I was like there in that exact timeline, but I didn't know what, like it. You could feel it when I was there, but like I didn't know the like people or anything. So
yeah,
like,
we were children, but like
Yeah.
I want to get into it. It's like, so when did you come to Orlando?
I was like a raver in Miami. I lived in Fort Lauderdale, but I would go to Miami like literally every night, like 3 nights a week. And then when I graduated school, I
would go to those shitty clubs in Fort Lauderdale on the Riviera. What, Voodoo? Was it called
Riverfront?
Voodoo? Yeah, Riverfront. Bro.
Cafe Iguana.
Yeah. Yo, older broads would take me there. It was so
Yeah,
fun.
no, that
This is
checks
like
out.
20 years. You weren't even born. Like
Wow,
you were
I
like
wasn't born
5
yet.
at
I
this
was
time.
in the womb.
We're about to
getting
age ourselves.
pissed at you.
Yeah. Like,
I was punching my mom's
Yeah.
Yeah.
stomach.
yeah,
It's like,
they were
this
sneaking
man's
me
stepping
in.
out.
Yeah, I was stepping out. I
They
was
like it was so easy to drink in that area. When I turned 21, I went to Riverfront
yeah.
and I was holding my ID up to the cops and I was like, I've been drinking here for 4 years. And they were just like, whatever, like you're 21 now.
Yeah,
Like,
older shorties that graduated from Rollins would just like take us there.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is great. Like, I don't need a fake ID. And I'm with this like older shorty. I was like, this is phenomenal.
it's kind of crazy. Like Miami would just like let you in if you were hot. Like
Yeah.
they were just like, we don't care. And
But even
then-
back then, she tells me all the time, I need a catheter because like if we go on a road trip, I have to pee
Oh my
every
God.
45
same.
minutes.
Not even a road trip. If we just go on a walk, like we've just started the walk. 3 minutes in, he's like,
Yeah.
I actually am
Nigel's
gonna go
laughing
pee.
because this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm like-
we're the same person.
He calls me
he'll
pee
be like,
machine.
yeah, he'll like pee on the side of the road. I'm like, you are gonna catch a charge. Like you can get in trouble for peeing in public because if
Yeah.
there's kids around,
Yeah,
and
I
you'll be
have
a.
peed on the street in the East Village as a grown adult. Before.
You're a woman, you can get away with it. I feel like as a man, you're risking
no,
a
Yo,
lot.
it was
so
you're like
bad.
risking your life in New York City.
I was at this riverfront place and this shorty had snuck me in with the homies and I had done like 1 or 2 bars, right? And I drank, I think, like a Long Island iced tea. And the
Wait, did you
bathroom-
go to 1 or 2 bars or you took
Oh no, I
1 or
took
2
like
Xanax
I took a
bars?
Xanax
Because
a
that's
couple-
very Florida
Yeah, no, I
language.
did a
Like,
couple
did 2
Xans.
bars.
Did 2
Yeah, I did a
bars.
couple bars.
Yo, are you off a bar?
Yeah, I'm too comfortable with you. I was like, yeah, so I was off a couple
clear
bars,
that up.
and I you know how we do. We break the time release, so I had basically taken 4 joints,
Yeah.
and I think I had like a Long Island iced tea, and them joints get you just pissing like a
The fact that we
racehorse.
were just drinking Long Island iced tea,
I know.
several of them, and
That's like a
doing
homemade Four
bars.
Loco. Like
it should
a
be
Long Island
illegal
iced tea is a
to do
homemade Four
like
Loco.
Long Island iced teas. I feel like should be banned.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
a
it, but I'm
DUI in a
like,
glass.
it's fucked
yeah,
up
and
to
then
get somebody
driving
that
home,
drunk.
FYI.
Yeah, I didn't drive. I did not drive, but I had like four broken up joints of bars in my system in the Long Island.
That's
and
a
the
lot.
bathroom had an issue. And I was just like, yo, I can't do this. And I ended up pissing off the balcony of the second floor.
Oh my God.
And I thought I was clear. I thought I was trying to hit this tree. And the dude's like, yo, what's going on? It's raining in the club. And then the security looked at me and we had to like buck out, me and my friends and this older lady. We were just like running out of the club because I accidentally pissed on
You're
someone.
like,
God.
I'm gonna go to jail in Fort Lauderdale. I'm
Yeah.
out.
You
Like-
golden showered the joint.
It was
you were
so
like,
bad.
Okay.
It was
But
so
that
bad.
actually got me to go to raves. Was we would go to Riverfront, and then there was a club in Riverfront called the Edge that turned into the Chili Pepper like later on.
Yeah.
And their raves would start when the club ended. So at 4 a.m., that's when the raves started there. So like through going to that area, I was too young. But like, you know, we would do the stamp trick when you like lick a stamp and like
Yeah.
put it on your friend's hand. And that got me to start to go to raves in high school. And like
Yeah.
it wasn't cool. Like DJing wasn't cool. Raving wasn't cool. It was like you're like the weirdo.
Well, I thought DJing, well, for us, like around like, let's say 95, 96, right? DJing was it wasn't cool.
The
But
dancers were cooler. There were like
Yeah.
breakdance crews and like
the shit we were into was like, that was like the first Outkast album, like Southern
Yeah,
Playlistic.
for
and
sure.
people were spinning like Southern rap like that. That shit was kind of cool. Was
Yeah.
it cool? I don't know if it was cool. Maybe
rap
we were
DJing
nerds.
was cool, but
Yeah.
like rave DJing was like no one like
Yeah, like drum and bass wasn't cool. I remember we made fun of the drum and bass homies.
it was like it was just very different. Like it was very crunchy. Drum and bass is very crunchy.
Yeah.
And then like you were just like a weirdo, and like I didn't have any friends in school that liked this stuff. I had to find other friends.
Yeah.
And the other friends were ravers in Florida, were like not so great.
Yeah.
Like
No, I know
not
what
so
you
great
mean
things
now.
going on.
I remember what what you're talking about, because it was like the freaky homies we had would wear like the UFO pants to school.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like goth met rave. And we were like the hip hop rap music kids. But then when the ecstasy hit and like it was the skater homie, Mike Macheski was the first one to like, I think put us all onto these pills, because his sister dated DJ Sandy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we would see these flyers from his sister, and Mike got a hold of pills and he's like, yo, this shit's great. You're going to feel so good. But we were like, this music is sus, dog.
I do remember when all the hip hop kids discovered ecstasy.
We were trying to do ecstasy listening to Master P, and we were just like, yo, this shit's not working. And he's like, bro, you got to listen to like Rabbit in the Moon.
You
like,
see like some guy in like a basketball jersey who was probably you at the club, and his eyes would be so big and you could tell he was so confused. And like, I remember this guy like tried to give me a massage, but like it wasn't weird. He just needed to like, he needed some sort of affection. And I was like, who are you?
Yeah, no, I was straight up the raver with like the headband and the like Penny Hardaway jersey.
Oh
just
my
like,
goodness.
they're going to play UGK. And it's like, you can't blow up listening to UGK.
Yes, that was definitely like for sure a period. It was like the weird goth kids discovered it. And then all of a sudden we were like, okay, who showed these people this drug? Because like it's infiltrating the club.
It was cool because the goth kids went from like ska. Remember they were listening to like Real Big Fish and ska?
I was going to the edge to like go see Real Big. No, I was going to see like
Mighty Boston.
Bad Religion. I was not listening to Real Big Fish. I was listening to like No Effects.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do not know a single Real Big Fish
Yo, my
song.
first high school paper I ever wrote was on No Effects.
Yeah,
Heavy
see?
Petting Zoo.
Great album.
Yeah.
Very good album. Yeah. So yeah, that's
Tasha's looking at us like, you ancient motherfuckers. It's like she's seeing dinosaurs.
Literally the math meme where it's just like equations around my head, and I'm like, for sure.
Yeah, okay. So what was your first interaction realizing like there was a Florida Breaks music scene? Did people know?
Well, I'm from Boston. I had no idea. It was really when you started writing a show about it. And I remember like, this was very early on when we were dating. I think I had like gone out to do something. I like went to go run errands. I was gone for 5 hours. I came back. He's in his office. Photo albums when he's in high school scattered all over the floor. And he has this like entire show written, like a whole season of a show. It was literally 5 hours. He's like, I've written this show. I have all and it was like a beautiful mind moment.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
who did I do this with?
Right. I'm like, okay, what? Are you good? Are you fucked up right now?
I think like old Mitsubishi's like hit.
Yeah, like it truly, like it brought back whatever. And then obviously I got into it and you like showed me this whole new world. And I was just like, this is fucking cool. Because nobody was doing this shit in Boston when I was growing up. I mean, it took me until literally, I think I was in my late 20s, you introducing me to this. I had just never been exposed to it. I mean, I was doing ecstasy, but it was just
Armand
in a very
Van Helden
different
from Boston.
Yeah,
Armand Yeah, they had like Oakenfeld. They were doing like the Oakenfeld thing.
But it was
up
like
there.
big.
Yeah.
I mean, there's little stuff, but not like here.
But I loved playing the music for her, and it like still hits now. Like
does.
everyone I played
It's
Florida
good.
Breaks for is like, what the fuck is
We have
this?
you have a playlist that kind of accompanies the show, and just like for whoever is reading the script or whatever. But the music is so good, and it is timeless. Like I would listen. I would if they started cranking that in here, I'd be like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
that's a party.
It's good, but if you just look up Florida Breaks, there's like so much bad stuff you
Yeah.
have to like weed through. So like I feel like a lot of people were very turned off by it because of that, and I get it.
True. Okay, so
Like-
if you were to explain for Florida Breaks and like I guess just like ID,
This is so good. I'm gonna pee. Keep going. I'm listening.
oh my god, or like ID top artists, DJs track just for people who have no idea. Like, how would you encapsulate it, and like who would those people
For
be?
Florida, I feel like DJ Icy was kind of like the king.
Okay.
And you know, it's very like a lot of like female vocal,
Okay, I love that.
like
Yeah.
like trancey kind of like, you know, like kind of what you would picture in a movie when someone like takes drugs and like
Yes.
is on one and like losing
Uh-huh.
themselves. But like to the point where it could be like super cheesy.
I like
know?
it though. It kind of like
Oh, I love it.
a song that I always used to play, and Eddie would be like, "This is so Florida Breaks." It was like "Better Off Alone" by DJ Alice.
It's that I
It's,
feel like
it's that, but cooler.
like
It's like a little bit
but
more
that
like
came from the like I feel like Florida loved that song because it was so similar to Florida Breaks.
okay.
That like we just thought it was a Florida Breaks song.
Okay,
Turns
we're-
out it was like a giant hit. But
Which
it's
song?
Florida.
It was such a Euro summer. Like I would
Yeah.
go to Greece in the summer, and I'd be listening to "Better
We
Off
didn't know
Alone" by
that.
Oh
DJ
yeah,
Alice.
yeah, Alice DJ, yeah.
Oh, it's Alice DJ.
Alice
No,
DJ.
whatever, yeah.
I'm like,
But I remember when I worked at the radio station in Orlando, like they did this big concert and I was like such a purist, like raver. And they were like, "Can you pick up Alice DJ from the airport?" And I was like, "They're posers." I was like, they just want to be Florida Breaks, but they're like really commercial. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, wait, I should have picked Alice DJ up from the airport. Like,
Because it kind of was a copycat break
Yes.
song, but then it was in heavy rotation
Crazy.
at our parties.
Yeah.
Like Cyberzone, Alice DJ came out, it was over. It was absolutely over. There was this one club we would all go to that's no one writes about it.
the only person I know that remembers this club is literally Eddie.
well, you're so deep in it. So wait, okay, did you guys meet during this
No.
era?
No,
So you're simultaneously both there, not meeting.
Yeah, this is the best
Dude,
part of our
red
friendship is
string
because
theory. I talk about this all the time.
yeah,
So weird.
It's like a UFO. Only like a few people saw.
Yeah.
Especially our age, because we were young in the scene. Like
Yeah.
for people our age to be exposed, we were like ratchet children. I was like 16 sneaking into
Okay.
these
I was
clubs.
younger
Yeah.
than everybody like in that world for sure.
I was a
Wow.
child, and like that's why I was like, "There's older shorties," because it was always
Yeah.
older shorties
Yeah.
getting me in.
I'm the oldest
It's
now.
like,
always.
you want to take advantage of a young Asian boy?
You're like, I'm here and I'm rolling.
I'm here and I got glow sticks in my pocket, ma'am. I will chew the ice from your gin and tonic.
I have a Vicks Vapor Rub. What were those things called? The
Oh,
things
yeah,
you would
yeah, the
blow
inhaler.
Vicks
Yeah,
in
yeah.
each other's
Oh
eyes.
my god!
But
The
I read
best.
his book. So
Okay.
me and Eddie have mutual friends. And I knew that you were from Florida. And I will also read anybody's book that's in my timeline of New York
Mhm.
that like has some sort of come up story because like there was way less people doing stuff not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I read your book and then like halfway through the book, I'm like, am I Eddie? Like I was like, are we the same person? Like what there was like all like this one scene in your book about the police coming and like I was like, this is like so triggering right now. Like, how did we not know each other?
Right.
And I don't think we were friends. Like, we knew each other.
Yeah.
But I hit you up and I was like, yo.
And once we connected, it was over.
Once we knew Cyberzone, like, we figured out.
Yeah.
But it's funny because just recently I posted something on Instagram about Florida Breaks and someone left a comment that was like, are you going to go to Cyberzone? And I tagged you in it.
Yo, Cyberzone was this hilarious, decrepit club, one
Okay.
floor, and it felt like going into like. I feel like it was like a Miami mini mall, like you know those like mini malls, and you go in, and it had like a sidebar and just like a shitty dance floor, and the sign would always say Mike D, like Friday night, like Mike D of the Beastie Boys, Friday night, and I was like, Mike D, like we're just here to listen to breaks, like I never went to
Yeah.
the Mike D shit.
And it was an after hours club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the hack was, and I think this is genius, by the way, it started, everything closed at 2 in Orlando, not 4,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Miami was 4 or 5. So you would go after 2, right? And they still had a bar and bartenders. You would bring your own bottle of liquor because they didn't have a
Oh,
liquor license.
yep.
Then you would get like a coat check tag. And then every time you wanted a drink, they would make you a drink with your own bottle of liquor, and then you would just tip the bartender.
So you were
Yeah.
co-checking your bottle. You
Yeah.
were like, that one is mine.
And they would charge you for like the cranberry juice
Oh,
or like
yes.
whatever.
So fire.
It
And
was
it would stay
incredible.
open till like 8 in the morning. Like it was like crazy.
Yeah.
It felt like going to a house party because you just like
Yeah.
bring your bottle
Yeah,
of choice and
right.
everybody else brought their bottle.
Remember
And-
Craze used to play there? Like I've seen like I saw DJ Scribble there.
No
Oh,
way.
shit.
I don't think I can remember the DJs. I just remember the sign every night, like Mike D.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they advertising this dude?
I do
so
remember
funny.
Craze just because he was like my favorite Miami DJ.
Yeah.
Like he's like the GOAT. So like I remember definitely going to Cyberzone because he was playing there.
I think my favorite was Shiraz. Like I just loved Shiraz. I think he had, for me, my favorite song. And then funny enough, it's not a break song, but I just remember in the era it going bananas was Jay and Jane. Like,
that
I
went
remember
crazy.
Larissa, Jay and Jane was just like that. With the party was over. Like everyone was nutting their
That's
brain.
another one I didn't realize was like not just Florida.
Yeah.
Like when I play it like other
I knew
places.
that one. Yeah, that
like,
one made its way to me.
That was a big Jay and Jane was a big one.
Yeah. That one was crazy.
Yeah.
What else?
I feel like was there kind of, because I do feel like some of these songs, like when I was early on MySpace, like these were, I remember I used to follow girls on MySpace that were super into the rave scene when I was young. And like I was lying about my age on MySpace to get on. And I would like, there was this one girl, Kissy Face Edna, and she was always at a rave. And like I will never forget her. I was in love with her. I was like, who is this girl? She had like the striped hair, the like chunky blonde highlights, like always just, I was obsessed with her. And she always had played like her MySpace song was always a come up for me because it would be like Jay and Jane. And then I would be like, what the fuck is this? And
where
then
did she live?
Boston.
Oh, she was
Boston. She was like a Boston girl. She was definitely, because I was too young to kind of go out at this point. I was like early middle school. So I'm like watching these girls go out. And I just remember I was like, I can't wait. Like
that was kind of how I moved to New York. Like I got here and like immediately went for like rave scene people.
Okay.
Like on MySpace. And then I was like, oh, your top friends.
Well, because
like,
think about it, like they were like the famous influencers for us.
They were.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. The style at the Florida Breaks parties was just the best too, because there were people who were like just getting off a boat on the lake coming through, and then there was people like coming from the beach, and then there was people with like the pacifiers and the UFO pants, like utilitarian dance wear, and then there was just like the hip hop homies like me that were like
Cuban guy in basketball shorts.
Yeah, I remember just wearing like and one because I was like wearing and one shorts and a white t-shirt and like a piercing pagoda silver chain. I was like, I'm
piercing
fucking fly,
pagoda.
yo. Fucking fly.
I was like, in a lot of Adidas tracksuits because I was like obsessed with London. A lot of Adidas, but it's funny because there weren't really a lot of candy ravers there. When I moved to New York, I was like, yo.
No, I was fully like G-Unit at the beach. Like I was like flip-flops and socks. You know, like I look like fucking Lloyd Banks up in there.
There was a lot. That was a big Florida like style. Was Lloyd Banks.
Yeah.
I'm into the thug ravers.
Yeah,
like,
the thug raving was so
you're like so committed. You're like, I will not be comfortable here.
I think also like
ill.
I hung out with like the breakdance circle guys and they were just in breakdance gear, which was which was Lloyd Banks. So like
we were such haters. I was like, I can't dance. I could fight. You know?
Oh my God. So many fights too at Rave. It's like,
can't dance. I can fight.
You know you got problems. You really got daddy issues when you fighting on E.
like on a pill.
I was gonna say, like, how are you not
got
just like
problems.
so happy?
I know.
Yeah.
But it's Florida. Like they'll fight on anything.
Yeah,
You know?
it was just like, yo. I love you, man, but that was disrespectful.
Yeah.
That was really, really disrespectful, and I'll explain to you why for 75 minutes.
I had this horrible boyfriend that like, shout out my parents for like dealing with me for real. Like this person was like straight out of jail. And he robbed one of the guys from Fever Crew, not knowing the deal. And then he couldn't go out. He couldn't go anywhere ever again because
Did he rob them at the club or was it home invasion?
no, I think he like sold, I can't believe I'm talking about this on a podcast. I think he like sold them a fake sheet of acid.
Okay.
Which was a big thing to do.
Yeah.
Cause like you would be the like main guy and sell it and then they would distribute like this, like the separate.
Yeah.
And I was like this innocent, like I didn't know he did that. And then we would be out and he'd be like, I gotta go. And just like leave me there.
That was a good hustle though. There was a lot of fake acid. There were a lot of fake pills in the era. Just
there was a lot. Oh my God. The first pill I ever bought was a double stacked E.
Yeah.
It was a fucking Excedrin.
Yeah. And people were just repressing Adderall too. Like you could just repress Adderall and like it was kind of funny. Like,
yeah, it was like actually, well, it was like, I guess it was like more Ritalin then.
Yeah.
And like I don't remember Adderall then, but I do remember
Ritalin.
Ritalin,
It was whatever was the.
I wasn't really like getting like that. Like I was like, the thing is like I was going to all these raves where like every drive was like an hour and I didn't have any friends that like lived where I lived. So I would like have to drive an hour and then like drive home alone. So I actually like wasn't getting that turn.
Yeah.
Like if I was with a group, then I definitely would.
Oh, I was fucking. What was your first pill?
A double stacked Excedrin.
Okay, what was the first pill that like hit?
One, it was probably like a Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was Mitsubishi and Superman like the same night.
Yeah.
Like I got a Mitsubishi
wow.
and it was so fire. I got a Superman and then I was like, and we were
Dude.
so funny. The homie was like, yo, we got to eat turkeys and bananas. So then we went to Einstein Bagel at like 6 a.m. when they opened and people's moms were there. And I was like, bro, this is the worst idea
the rave
ever.
would
Yeah,
always
that's the
be in some
worst
shopping
feeling.
center with like a Publix.
Yeah, and I'm like Einstein Bagels, just like pounding turkey and bananas like a moron. But what are we doing?
There was this one spot that was in a literal public shopping center in Miami, and we would get out, and there'd be like old people. Do you know old people go shopping at like 7 a.m.? And like it would just be like. But then when I moved to Orlando, it was funny. When I moved to Orlando, I moved for college, so like I had already done all this crazy stuff, and I got there, and everybody's like partying for the first time. What year was this? 99. Okay. And I was like, I don't need to party like this. Like I've already done this. But I was like craving the rave. So I was like trying to find it there. And the music was different. Orlando breaks are very different than Miami breaks. And
Hater.
And then there's this it's very different, not as deep, not as heavy. But then I found out that there was a school near I went to UCF, which was a nightmare, by the way.
Yeah, you can't finish.
Dude, you can't finish or under construction forever. Let's
Best
just,
party school. Like
Best
the
party
most
school.
slept on party school is UCF.
They really set you up for failure though, because like you get into the school, right? And like I wanted to go for film. What happens when I get there? The Blair Witch Project comes out.
Oh shit.
Yes.
You could not get into that film program. And like it's not like you paid for the school.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get into anything, like any sort of like arts program. And then there also wasn't any housing.
Yeah.
Because it was
Everyone
really
lived off
overcrowded.
campus.
So they're like, you're accepted. We would love for you to come here, but like
you can't have
actually
anything.
come here. Fuck you.
No.
So everybody just kind of fucks off. Like,
Okay.
but then there's this other school right near it called Full Sail, which is like what is it? Like a tech
It's
school?
like a tech, it's like visual, it's like VSA up here. But
Okay.
it's like very well known because of Disney. So Disney hired
that makes
mad
sense.
people from Full Sail. It was in the 90s and early 2000s, Full Sail was one of the best like film schools you could go to.
Yeah.
Like mad wakeboarders and skateboarders I knew that like wanted to become film dudes, they went to Full Sail. My cousin went to
Interesting.
Full Sail.
Like weirdly, I heard it was because like lightning and electric stuff, but I don't think that that's true. We'll have to confirm this. The school runs 24 hours a day. So
Oh.
like people have classes.
Yeah.
Some people would have classes from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m.
I kind of fuck with that.
It was-
I
it
mean,
was
it's kind of
cracked out. It was
preparing you
really
for
cracked
like
out.
the film industry, I guess. So like,
Yeah.
you might be on a
Yeah.
night shoot, bitch.
People
like,
would party and go to school.
Yeah.
It
I
was-
fuck with that. There's something interesting that you just brought up that I think is so funny is that like Disney is in Orlando and
Oh, yeah.
happening at its peak and like plucking kids out of these high schools. Like he always tells me like Joey Fatone and InSync
that was
and all.
going on
so
then,
it's like
too.
all happening while this Florida break shit is happening and you guys are just like so fucked up and I just picturing like InSync at one of these raves
But it was
before
in this
they were
timeline, though. They
It's-
were
it's-
at
yeah,
them.
and
right,
yo-
like this whole universe is existing at the same time and that is
Yeah.
And here's the thing:
insane to me.
no one will claim Orlando. You're like so like DJ Khaled went to
Right.
my high school my freshman year.
Did he?
Arab Attack,
I
and
know
then
Arab
now he
Attack, yeah.
claims Miami. You know,
Okay. And it wasn't Diplo involved?
Diplo was the
somehow?
college
also on
radio
UCF.
station
Yeah,
DJ.
yeah, okay.
Went to UCF and was a Rollins College radio station DJ.
But he has an album called Florida.
yeah, no,
he's, like,
yeah,
Diplo,
pretty
West
Florida.
West claims like, but Khaled, I don't think has ever shouted out Orlando. I'm not hating. I'm just saying like, there's mad people from Orlando.
There was O-Town.
Yeah, also Smiles and South
Okay.
Star. Shout out Smiles and South
There
Star.
was like that. It was also
Yeah.
this was when the boy band era was like at its peak.
Yeah.
and like everyone's there was like a club called Roxy that was probably like a very mainstream club, but they did play breaks because it was very normal there. And you would see like one night NSYNC and Britney would roll in, and they
Yup.
would be like off their face, and you'd be like,
I love that.
all right.
Yup.
It was just such a weird time. Like, and not only did Disney own everything, but like Orlando
Lou Pearlman
was,
owned everything.
Lou Pearlman owned everything.
Specifically that man.
Yeah.
But it was also like a hub for like
talent.
And
I feel
also like in the Bible Belt, right? Like,
Yeah, it was Bible
really?
Belt.
Yeah, so
I mean,
there's,
Tiger
like, a
Woods was
lot of
lacing the
weird-
hostess at Perkins down the street. Like there was wild
like,
bananas
crazy
things going
stuff
That's
on.
what
God.
always kind of intrigues me about Florida. It's like this underbelly, and there's a lot of like weird shit happening. But on the surface, it's very like we love God and Disney, and it's Bible
Oh my
Belt,
God.
and
Mad
it's
Mormon
so
churches.
buttoned up, and like maybe not so
So-
much Miami, right? But you're thinking
no,
about
I
like
never
Orlando
saw that
and
until I
like
moved to Orlando.
yeah, it's like
yeah.
places that are not Miami in Florida. It's like that's
I grew
kind
up
of
in
the
like a
vibe.
pretty like either Jewish or like Latin air. It was like
Okay.
kind of like both. And when I got to Orlando, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
This is
like this
different.
is like America. Like South Florida wasn't. I mean, like, you go to like Davie or like cities
Yeah.
outside of those big cities, and maybe you'd get like a little bit of it. But like I worked at Bennigan's by the airport.
Oh fuck yeah!
So all
So
the
fire.
priests and like I like would be taking people out to lunch. I don't. They would leave me like Jesus pamphlets
Yeah.
as a server.
It's like
and,
creepy religious stuff. Like the yeah.
pray
yeah,
for
yeah.
me and like really. And
Interesting,
I just
yeah.
like never saw that in
And-
my life.
yeah.
Or like heard of it, and I was just like, this is. And like people used to say really crazy stuff to me that would never be said. I remember this one table of mine. I was like, he paid for the check, and I was like, do you want change? And he's like, don't worry, I won't be all Jewish on you. I'll tip you.
Hey yo.
And I was like, oh, and no one would ever say that in South
That's
Florida, like
Yeah.
crazy.
ever. You
Yeah.
know, like maybe like somewhere weird, but like not in like a major city.
Yeah.
Like in a public place to a server.
Right.
Like,
Just
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Maybe now they would,
That's
actually.
wild.
No, Orlando was really bad. Like
Yeah,
very,
it was
very
weird.
racist,
Feels a
very
little
ignorant.
Wild West, especially like when he tells me when he first moved there, it was not developed before.
a
Like
lot of
Disney
Orange
had
Grove.
come in, it was very much underdeveloped, and like it just felt like a place people were like, we can make money here. Let's go see. So
That's
it's like
kind of how I feel. Like, I mean, I obviously like wasn't paying attention to that then. I was just like trying to party, but I just went back there like really recently to see my family because my aunt still lives there,
okay.
and it's like an entire like totally different thing, and like there's way more diversity there, and like I don't know, it was just kind of like it was such a weird 3 years of my life.
Yeah.
That I didn't even finish that. I finished at FAU because I was like, I just have to get out of here. But
Yeah, not even being funny about it, but it's like the break scene and E kind of like liberated me because
Yes.
I was trapped in Orlando for so long. And this was the only weird cultural scene that had ever crossed like into Orlando. Like there was a joke, a teacher would always be like, what's the difference between Orlando and yogurt? And we're like, what? And he's like, yogurt has culture. And I was like, that's real.
Oh my God.
That's real, you know? And like I went
Damn.
on a church ski trip and this old church guy did like some weird shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I feel like trapped in this town. I can't talk to my parents about it. They're mad Chinese.
Yeah.
Breaks in E, like at least my mind could like go somewhere my body couldn't.
I feel the same way. And I
Pause.
feel like the third year I was in school, I decided to not do that stuff anymore. And I was like, there's absolutely no reason for me to be here now.
No,
Like,
then you gotta go.
I have to go back to South Florida and like get out of here because I wasn't going to that place in my brain or physically.
Yeah.
And I did have really good radio. I worked for 95.3, which was like the probably
pop and
Hot
dance
97
channel,
of,
yeah.
of radio. And then I worked for the other one that was like, you know, the like more chill one. And like I worked like Magic Mike was the DJ there. Like, you know, it was like pretty cool. So I did like a lot of cool stuff, but it just was so insane there at that exact time that I was like, I can't
Yeah.
not do this.
And it wasn't that people were like inherently bad. It was that they weren't exposed to things. And there was just like this pervading ignorance through the entire town.
Oh, totally.
Like it was a pervasive ignorance.
Yeah, it was because I did work at a restaurant. Like I had like, oh yeah, we didn't even talk about this. I worked at sports bars.
Yeah.
I worked at a sports bar called Froggers.
Yo, Froggers.
Froggers.
Crazy.
I worked at
Froggers
Wet
is
Seal
crazy.
in the mall.
Oh, wow.
So like I talked to a lot of like local. I wasn't
Yeah.
just around
Bro,
college
we have to say
kids.
Froggers was so out. Froggers was a place where like I saw a guy come in one time with an 8-ball and a sock. and no shirt on, swinging the
Yeah.
sock around his head, and was like, "I got that work." And I was like, "Yo, what?"
I served wings there.
Yo, they had 50
You're like,
cent
that
wing
was
night.
a normal
50
Tuesday.
cent wing night.
It was 50 cent
And dudes
wing
were
night.
swinging 8 balls around their head, like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Kinda
I don't
sounds
even
like a
know how I
phenomenal
got
time.
a job there. I guess I was, just driving around looking for like a restaurant job.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's a
like,
Froggers by my crib and next to like one of the only Taiwanese restaurants, and it was just the Froggers on the corner. And I was just like, this is the craziest vibe. Like Taiwanese families are going here, and then like dudes with no shirt on are like wilding at Froggers.
I'm just really glad that I like had a lot of jobs because like I feel like Gen Z did not work anywhere near as
No.
many like
No.
normal jobs as like our generation did. And because of that, I was able to meet like so many different kinds of people, especially in Florida. Like I worked in so many restaurants and so much retail that I can pretty much handle any person. And then moved to New York and also had so many.
Yeah, and it
Weird
forces
jobs,
you
like-
out of bubble. Like you can't be in a bubble if like you're going to Cyberzone and rolling into Boston Market the next morning.
Yeah.
Like I was rolling, going to. I remember one time, like the pills were just going. They would not stop, and I needed to touch something, and I was working at Boston Market, and I bugged out with my boy Lil Crow, and I just put mad gloves on and put my hands in the sweet potato mash.
Yo.
Don't get the sweet potato mash at Boston
Yeah.
Market.
I was just like, ah.
it's still fucked up.
It was so crazy. Like just wild stuff. People aren't experiencing that
I know.
with internet jobs.
No,
You're
they're
not
like,
fingering
no.
the sweet potato mash.
You also just like work with weird people. I feel like just like your
So
coworkers,
many weird
when you
people.
have a job like that, like I remember just working in like whatever high school job, and like my coworkers were all, and like oftentimes much older than you, and you're just exposed to
You're
weird
like friends
shit.
with some 40-year-old
Yeah.
like lady when you're like 17 years
Dude,
old.
I worked at my uncle's gas station. It was like a gas station, convenience store / ice cream store. Such a Greek people. They're like,
so-
whatever. They're like, we'll just do anything here. And I was doing the ice cream thing, which I kind of got fired from because I wasn't strong enough to scoop ice cream. But
It's
early,
really hard.
it's fucking
I worked at
hard.
Dairy
It
Queen
is
also,
fucking
so.
hard to scoop ice cream. I didn't have the body strength. So then I was in the convenience store with this woman, and she introduced me to witchcraft because she.
That's the thing. But that
Yes,
is like,
and that's the thing.
That's literally like,
You're not, you may find that on the internet. I don't know if you're working your work from home job, but like you're not going to be doing witchcraft in your uncle's gas
absolutely not.
station
And
with some.
TikTok is
Yeah.
not a real witchcraft
Yeah,
person.
It's
like,
not.
you need the lady at the gas station
No,
because
this
that is
bitch
real.
was telling me some crazy shit, and she was like, "Oh, that girl, you don't like her?" And I was like, "Oh, this is crazy," and the trajectory of my life changed. So, like, your coworkers will really.
I remember I had a house party and like all the old ladies from my job came and I was like 20 and I was like, cool. But also
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
you
fuck
all,
it.
like in one of the student housing, like UCF apartment buildings. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
and you
but
just have,
also
like-
like y'all get down like this.
Yeah, and my thing too with people
love
was
it.
is just like I'm supportive of like anyone who wants to be a creator now, but I'm just like, yo, you do kind of got to live life to like create stuff. Otherwise, like, what are you?
Yeah.
What is your work
Yeah.
about?
There's a lot of, you might not know in the moment when it's happening. Like, I didn't like working at that gas station. You probably hated working at Froggers, but you look back and I'm like, no, there was some real good shit going on. And I
Crazy.
could not recreate that if I tried.
Like
You got to be in the gutter.
You gotta be.
like DJing, like you like I DJ and travel a lot and like play all over the world, and that sounds obnoxious, but it's true. But like you do see crazy things, like, but like of course you're gonna see crazy things. You're in
Yeah.
a nightclub,
Yeah.
like that is like an expected. Like when something wild happens, you're like, this is what happens in a nightclub. But like in real life, at like
Yeah.
your uncle's gas station or Dairy Queen or
Yeah.
Boston Market, like that is like when crazy things happen there, it's a whole other.
No,
It's a
it blew my
different
mind.
bitch.
I was 16 at Cyberzone. Like me and my homies were sneaking in there like at the age of 16. So that was like my high school club.
Yeah.
with Cyberzone.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
they would
So
just
crazy.
let you
Best time.
in. And also like all the raves for me were all ages.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really have a bar
Yeah.
because no one was really drinking.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
early raves were kind of, they weren't like 21 plus
But
or
now
18
that I
plus
think about
even.
it, there's these massive raves that these older people are throwing in giant nightclubs, getting permits, all of this stuff. Because they weren't illegal, but they weren't exactly illegal. Like
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
what on earth were these people thinking? Getting like 700 underage kids
Yeah.
doing drugs, like in a giant venue, hiring DJs.
Oh, do you remember like the Florida Fairgrounds?
Like
that
I
was
know.
bananas.
What, and can you
On
imagine
Earth.
like the liability that like nobody even didn't even occur? Like no one had insurance.
No.
They were like, whatever.
Like I've been thinking about it so much because like this is pretty dark, but like people used to OD and die at these things
Yeah.
like all the time.
Yeah,
Now
like-
when that happens
Yeah.
at a corporate festival, they shut the whole festival
Yeah.
down. But like back then, it would be like, I think
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Do
what
you
happened.
remember when you started writing the show when I showed you that documentary about
Yes.
that? What was that called?
Like Ecstasy Nation or something.
It was I have
something
to,
like
I'll,
that. It was
I'll
really
find the
good.
name
Yeah.
and then we'll like put it in.
Yeah.
And I'll send it to you because I think you would find it interesting. It's this documentary I stumbled upon, and it's this. I actually don't know where they are. They may be Florida. It feels like they're in Florida.
This
but it's
sounds
this,
like kind of
it's
familiar.
this
yeah.
guy. He's like probably in his late
Oh, the
40s, early
older
50s.
man,
He gets really
yes.
into raves. He starts
Yeah,
taking
he's
his
into
kids.
jungle
With his kid,
He
specifically.
starts
right?
taking his young children. He starts taking his like 10-year-old kid, and he's like, they take the party back to his house, and like, through the documentary progress,
Yeah.
and he like gives his 10-year-old ecstasy for the first time, and he's like, it's okay because he's having this midlife like like he's on one, and it's so interesting. And I'm like, wow, that was all happening, and like these young kids are at a rave doing ecstasy with their dad, and that was fine.
I don't think we like saw the thing for it. I don't think I watched it. But
It's good.
Small
I don't
town
know if I
something.
could. But my
It's very
parents are
fucked up.
sick because my parents. I didn't think this was sick at the time, but my mom was actually a drug counselor.
Okay.
And my dad was like a public defender and a lawyer.
Oh wow.
So he was basically like anyone like me that would get arrested, he would like help out. So when my parents found out that like I was trying to go to these things, they realized that like I was gonna lie and sneak out the window or like
Yeah.
say like they would like we would just rather know where you are, even if you're 16 years old. Like
Yeah.
they made me write like a freaking like dissertation on what ecstasy does to your brain.
That's so smart, actually.
Like a report and like with a works cited, like everything, and hand it in. And then they were like, do whatever you want.
No, that's
Yeah.
very smart. My mom was the same. She was like, I know you're going to do some dumb shit. I did dumb shit. I had to hide it. Just tell me. She was like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you're doing shrooms at your friend's house. You need to tell me and I'll pick you up
No,
and you'll
she was
give
like,
me a
you
ride.
need to call. Actually, you need
Yeah.
to hand in this paper. Call me when you get there.
Yeah.
Call me before you leave. Like take my cell phone.
Yeah.
It was like their brick ass cell phone.
Yeah, you had the
And everyone, because my mom regularly did drug tests, she was like, every once in a while, I'll probably drug test you. But like,
That's like really smart and
That's good
safe
parenting.
and a
at the
good way to
time,
be
I
a
was
parent.
like, you're so annoying.
You have to know your kid. And I think my
Yeah.
mom and your parents, they were like, these kids are gonna do this shit.
Yeah, it
With or
was
without us
crazy.
knowing. And I had a friend, my mom didn't do that, but I had a really good friend. She was older than me, kind of same situation as you guys. I was young, started partying. She was older than me. And she was like, look up every single drug and its effects so you never get caught up in some shit that you don't want to be
Yeah.
in. She was like, don't go candy flipping and taking acid and Molly at the same time when you don't know what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
And then so I did that and I took it seriously. And so I always felt like even when I was like scared or like, oh my God, I'm like a little too fucked up, I kind of knew.
You're like, well, I
Which
knew what I
probably-
did.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, because my sister's 3 years younger than me. And then when she started like doing things, I was like, you're gonna tell like
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You
give you
were-
whatever you're not gonna get it from these people.
Yeah.
And then she like kind of had no interest in like she did like a few things
Oh,
and then
cool.
was kind of like, but because of that, I was
Yeah.
like the same with her.
Yeah.
And then she didn't even do it. So
No,
it's
I'm
fine.
glad
that's
you
good.
brought it up though, because as adults, I'm like 43. We're like older. It's fun to reminisce on the music and the crazy shit. But I do remember like there were 2 kids that OD'd at Cyberzone. They like
all
you
the
know they
time.
passed, and I remember they like rounded up a couple of us in high school that they knew like were doing stuff, and they talked to us. I had a counselor. I was in the teen
Same.
court system. I was in the drug and alcohol counseling as a kid, and I remember it was I would hide the packs of pills in like my Newport cartons, and my mom found them once
Ooh.
and didn't know what they were and asked my middle brother, and my brother was like, yo, Eddie's doing ecstasy, and he showed her like the glow sticks and he's like, dude, look, this is
no.
like the starter kit.
He's like, let's go
You
in
know.
Eddie's room.
I was like, fuck. And you know, I talk about ecstasy positively because my parents beat the shit out of me. I didn't feel great in my body. I didn't love being in Orlando, and it really did like liberate my mind in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And the music was the first scene where I was like, it's okay to be a weirdo. Like the rave scene
Yeah.
was really good for identity. But my dad my dad kind of put a stop to it. And then for the first time I did something bad and he didn't hit me. He took me on a ride in the canoe on the lake. I thought he was going to kill me like Fredo.
You're like, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah. And it was funny because we're sitting in the canoe and like the seats are like far. They're like 4 feet apart.
Yeah.
And instead of just like sitting me down, giving me a hug, we're on the canoe rowing. He like wanted an activity and he's like, I love you. Like from this far away. I'm like, what? And he's like, stop doing this to yourself. And I was like, all right, this is like the most intimate my dad's ever been with me.
Exactly.
And he's like, yo, I know like it's not been great for us, but like, I don't want you to hurt. You're hurting yourself and I love you. And like, that got me to stop doing pills for like a couple of years,
Yeah.
And it's so, I think it's important to say, I'm glad you brought it up because sometimes you like forget to bring up like the really bad side because we
for
survived.
sure.
We're survivors.
No, I've seen so many
Mad
like,
kids died.
Man, New York is crazy, and everyone's like, New York is crazy people. New York is dangerous. New York is this. I'm like, I lived in Orlando, Florida. Like, I will never see the things that I saw there. I've seen really crazy stuff in New York. I never in New York thought I was going to die. I've never thought someone was going to kill me in New York. In Florida, I've thought these things several times. I don't really think about it a lot because I think I pushed a lot of it out.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like, and once that all, like, once your family or somebody's like, hey.
Like Tuesday afternoons, dudes would be, yo, we should like rob a bank. I'm like, no,
Literally.
bro, I'm going back to class,
Literally.
man. I'm going back to class. You do you, though. You do you.
Like, actual that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy
Yeah.
that, like, I don't know, like, even the movie Spring Breakers, like, there was, like, scenes of it that were extremely triggering.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is not an exaggerated,
No.
like picture of Florida.
But also not even as bad. Like,
No.
Like Gummo is more like Florida.
Yeah. That
you
movie,
know?
like, I couldn't even.
Gummo's tough.
I
man.
was like, get this away from me.
Yeah.
That was that Orlando?
No. But I mean, just like dudes punching each other in the kitchen to see who's tougher, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're just so bored and there was no creative outlets.
None.
And I think what I realized in the scene, eventually you get to know people. Every single dude that was my homie that was in the scene, either their parents had really, really like beat the shit out of them or mentally abused them, or some other man had.
Yeah,
and we never spoke about it. We were just, unless you were on pills. And that's why I do have this connection to this scene in the pills where I'm like, kind of the breakthrough moments of my life happened.
But that's what it was for to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
was,
were
like,
already living on the edge.
Made for that, you know? It was like made for PTSD.
I know. And now we're like circling back, right?
know.
Where we're in this like era of
Ketamine therapy.
yeah, like psychologists are really using it for its intended
Yeah.
purpose of like, let's
I
let's
also
treat
like
people.
really love my friends in New York because I don't think like my friends were that great in the rave scene, drug scene in Florida. And then like I moved here and I'm like, oh my God, like this is what friendship is like. Like this is crazy. Like I'm in love with this person and like, you know, I'm like really like thankful for I don't know if I would have still be here if I stayed there. Like, I don't know.
You wouldn't be here if you stayed there, but also there's an energy about like both of us that it's just like you spent time in Orlando in that era.
Yeah.
Like there's this energy that is like unmistakable. You know, it's kind of ill, but I hate to be producer, man, because I lost track of time. This has like been the best. But anything you want to talk about that you're doing, coming up with like Magic City, the label or anything like that?
Yeah, I guess so. My website is magiccitynyc.com. I have parties. I have a residency in Miami right now. Speaking of Florida. So if you like watch that, the next one's July 19th. And yeah, I have a ton of music out. I have records coming out, but I don't know the date yet.
Yeah.
So just like kind of follow me around, Jubilee DJ.
Can we book you? Because we're gonna open up. We have not announced this, but we're opening a pop-up restaurant here at this new location at the Flower Shop. We would like for you to DJ the first night.
Of course.
Okay.
It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
I DJ'd your Vice party.
Yeah, the
and then
Wong's
you
World
made me
release.
DJ for Cameron.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did not tell me this part.
Okay, greatest moments of my life. Meeting her, having our son, Nick's game 4 last week. But
That might be number one,
but
to be honest.
kind
It
of
might be
performing
more.
Down and Out with Cameron and you DJing with the fat Jew, like that was kind of the greatest night.
That was like the crazy. Like, there's like a video of me just like, what is going on right now? Like, and Senna was like really pregnant.
So good. That was incredible. But no, it was actually Natasha's idea. She's like, yo, you should do the Florida Breaks night the night you like preview the restaurant here. So
Can you talk about the restaurant?
Well, basically it's this Chinese restaurant I've been working on for like a couple years now, the idea. And we were going to like go out with a deck and get investors. I hate talking to like money. I hate asking anybody for money. I just don't do it. So I was like, why don't I just start previewing it here with the homies at the flower shop, Dylan and Ronnie, and just like, if people like it, someone will buy it, you know? And I'd rather like just put the work on the table and be like, this is what I'm about.
I think that's a great idea because that's how things happen anyways. So
I still have that energy of like, let's just make it.
Yeah.
I don't like being like gatekeepy, like I'm worth this much. I don't give a fuck.
No,
man.
you should just have a couple parties and we'll play some Florida Breaks. And
Yeah.
Natasha's a maitre d', you the DJ, Dylan and Ronnie's the proprietor. It's like gonna be ill.
Yeah.
Nigel can sit in the corner.
Yeah. But a breaks night would be so fire in New York.
It would be really, I mean, people are talking about it a lot right now. Like,
it's like cool to know right now.
yeah.
It's,
So I'm like, hey, do you
whatever.
want to hear breaks at this Chinese food pop up? Like, let's fucking go.
And I don't mind. Like, it's like zeitgeisty for like certain heads, but I'm just like, yo, I just hope it doesn't die. I just hope people never forget that era of music.
No, and it's like, that's why I'm glad we're talking about it. And like, I have that article, but I'm just like, can we just like keep posting something about it every once in a while? Because like,
yo, we should print the article on the back of the menu. That shit would be crazy.
Oh my God.
That would be
night.
fire.
Yes.
The Jessica Gentile.
Jessica
That's
Gentile.
coming on the
And
back of
people
the
be like,
menu.
why is there a Florida Breaks article on the back? All right,
Why
we're doing
not?
it. We're doing
Why
it. We're doing
not?
it. The
It's
foremost
coming out.
article
I'm so
on Florida
excited.
Breaks, DJ Jubilee, world famous. Thank you.
World famous DJ, thank you so much.
This was so fun.
I know.